Hi, this is part 2 of Opus's Conversations with Creatives visual podcast, where we've been exploring the importance of practice to different artists. In this episode, we'll be hearing from cartoonist and illustrator Zoe C. and James Herry, Salish carver and sculptor. Whilst their disciplines might differ, they share some common views on the continuing role of practice in their successful creative careers. To finish things off, Mandy Boursicot, who's been guiding us through the subject throughout the month of February, will provide some final insight.
My name is Zoe C, and I am a cartoonist and a children's book illustrator. Up until last summer, I was a full-time lawyer, and I was doing just cartoons and illustration on the side. But for about a year now, I've been doing it full-time. I draw cartoons regularly for the New Yorker, and I currently have a few books in the works. Just from a personal standpoint, before this became my job, I was drawing cartoons pretty much every day. I started a cartooning blog in my first month of law school, and I did that consciously in order to, force myself to do something that wasn't academic, because I knew that if I didn't, I would become very quickly overwhelmed. So I set a goal to draw or post one drawing a day every day for a whole year. I go back to those archives now, and they're really sloppy. I don't really have a style or anything, but just having that practice for that 1 year really got me started in just developing the habit of retreating to artwork whenever other parts of my life felt overwhelmed, and also helping me find my style and discover that I really like drawing about my life, and that this was a really good way for me to connect with people. The advice that I give to aspiring artists or even just students in school is just to pick one creative thing and do it regularly, because I do think that the consistent practice of something does yield results that you might not even expect. When I started this blog, my goal was not to become a full-time artist. I had assumed I was going to law school and I would just become a lawyer and it would be fine, right? But this has kind of always been my pipe dream, but I wasn't expecting that. But out of practice, you discover parts of yourself that you didn't know before. So I'm still trying to set new goals for practice. I'm currently trying to do a thing where I draw a comic that's unrelated to work every day for a year, and it's proven a lot harder because now drawing is my whole job. So doing even more of it at the end of the day is difficult. But I think the same principle applies, that if you practice, you will discover new things about yourself and your art. I didn't pick up watercolors until maybe 2016 is when I bought a really basic set from a $7 pan from Opus, and I just started dabbling in it, and I did that semi-consistently, and now watercolor is my favorite medium to paint or to illustrate in, aside from just pens and pencils. I look back on my work from the beginning in 2016, and it's all I can remember where I can see where I was then, I can see where I am now, but I can't remember the in-between point, right? It was just a lot of playing around. I absolutely recall talking to my then boyfriend, now husband, and being I'm so bad at this, this is never gonna be fine. And he's look, Zoe, if you just if you just keep doing it, in 3 years, you're going to be better than you were today. I think that, as an artist, you're always kind of your own biggest critic. You just do the best that you can, and you just keep things in perspective, that you're doing your best, and you're going to keep improving. So, and the thought that you're not good enough yet is what keeps you improving through your career, right? So it doesn't mean that you necessarily are bad. It just means that there always is room for improvement. I don't think that you're ever going to be perfect. There is no one level of perfect. It's just depending on where you are, you will always have a new place to go. But that is kind of, I think, the whole the beauty of being an artist, and having a passion, is that If there was nowhere else to go, then it would no longer be like joyful or, like a worthy pursuit. I don't think that people should put so much pressure on themselves to reach just like, one level. I do think that you do need to work and you do need to practice it, and you have to put that work in. But like if you do, then you will probably attain your idea of perfect, like ongoing.
My name is James Harry. My ancestral name is, I share the name Cultvating with my father. And I also have another name, Galos, which means, translates to wise one, which was given to me at birth as well. So my kind of style is inspired from like Salish design forms. The main mediums that I work in are wood carving, as well as metalwork. In some of my more recent works, I've been using fiberglass, as well as LED lighting. I'm just honestly always just learning more about what I could do better or what I could do to get faster at doing what I do. You could really learn how to carve really well after 2 years out of practicing with somebody who knows how to do it. And of course, all the years after that would just be sort of the mastery of it. I'll start off the day by going on the computer and maybe looking for some inspiration on Pinterest, or looking through some old books of like ancient design and really studying the old forms and getting like an understanding. And then I'll probably go into my studio and just start carving. I always try and put some time aside to just carve for 2 to 3 hours a day, just so I can like explore new forms. It's difficult to sort of visualize three-dimensional forms unless I find myself kind of just experimenting on it, and it also keeps my brain sort of sharp on how those forms sort of work together. The other parts of my day is usually put towards coming back into the house and working more on designs. One of the things I think that most creatives struggle with is fear of failure, or fear of taking that leap. I would say just keep practicing, and no matter what age, the only time that you're not actually getting any of that reward for yourself is the time that you're not spending towards doing it. So just getting into it and just starting it, and think about, how you can get better at what you do just by, of course, when you first start, you're not going to be the greatest, but when you continually work through it and fail, you'll get better. Every piece that I make, I'm learning from that piece. Like, what could I have done better to this piece to make it better next time? If you look at some of my earlier works, I would look at that and be like, wow, what was I actually doing there? Like, I obviously didn't know what I was doing. So, this is like 10 years later now, and I can like see how much I've improved. And that's just from practicing over and over and over again every day, trying to get better a little bit. There are definitely some lessons that my dad taught me that really helped me, keeping your tools sharp, and sort of just that philosophy of keeping your tools sharp. Keep your mind, just like keeping your mind sharp. It's like you keep your tools sharp, and it'll make your job that much easier for you. It translates. Like, it might not seem like it translates right away, by whether that's a paintbrush or keeping your pencils sharp or whatever. Just that philosophy of keeping and taking care of the tools, and they'll take care of you.
Practice makes perfect is true, but I've also heard that perfect practice makes perfect. So what is perfect practice? Focus was one of the elements, but also practicing good techniques and good habits. Because if you practice bad habits, well, those will get ingrained. And I don't think you'll ever get to perfect by practicing bad habits. Observational drawing is really a very good way to build up your emotional reserves and capacity by just being mindful. You have to really observe the thing that you're drawing. So, it's really kind of a trick to take all of that knowledge that you have, observe something in reality in the three-dimensional world, and then make an illusion of it on a two-dimensional surface. So I think drawing can really be, at any level, a healing practice for people during this time.
I hope you've enjoyed these 2 episodes on the theme of practice. I'd like to thank all of the contributing artists for sharing their invaluable insight. Tune in next month, where we'll be tying up the creative cycle, exploring final presentation, and discussing how to get your work out into the world.